Yo, what's good YouTube? It's Pablo and welcome back to the channel. I'm bringing you guys another episode of the New Orleans Pelicans rebuild here in NBA 2K18 with the 2019 rosters. And in this episode, we're going to be concluding the season. I'm going to show you guys some of the awards. The Pelicans did end up making the playoffs, of course. We finished with a record of 47-35, and we're going to be playing the Oklahoma City Thunder in the first round of the playoffs. So that was the matchup we were hoping for. But before we get into that, like I said, I'm going to show you guys the awards, and then I'm going to show you guys my lineup as well. But James Harden did win MVP, so that will be a second consecutive. That's not too surprising. I mean, he's in the conversation every year. And then we did end up getting Anthony Davis the Defensive Player of the Year award. So that's amazing. That's exactly what we wanted, and I think that's pretty realistic. He could be in that conversation again next year. But in the My League, he did finish with a pretty impressive stat line: 24 and 13, averaging about 1.7 steals and then over 2 blocks a game. But most improved player is going to go to Shane Larkin. If you guys watched the episode where we played the Grizzlies, you guys saw him pretty much go off along with Mirotic. So we made the trade with them and we got Conley, and I kind of see why, because they had a lot of faith in Shane Larkin, and he shows why, because he won the most improved player. So that was a good trade for both sides. And then Mike D'Antoni does win Coach of the Year. So the Rockets ended up with a record of 72-10. That is very impressive. They definitely have to be the favorites to win the championship this year. But while we look through the all-NBA teams, I'm going to talk a little bit about the series before we get into the playoff matchup. But how I'm going to be doing the playoffs is I'm going to play game 1, which is what you guys are about to see. I'm going to play game 1, and then I'm going to be playing the next elimination game. So the reason why I just did it like that, simply I just wanted a chance to come in and set the tone and maybe steal one on the road. But win or loss in game 1, I'm going to be leaving it to the team that I put together to go out there and win games in the playoffs without me controlling them every game until the next elimination game. So like I said, you guys will see game 1, and then I'll simulate, I'll let the team play, and that'll be very interesting to see if they can pull out victories versus an OKC team who doesn't actually have Schroeder in this My League, but they do have Nerlens Noel, and they do have Melo actually coming off the bench. So that's one thing that is pretty interesting about this team. Melo actually made the sacrifice, the long overdue sacrifice, and said, I'll play off of the bench and be that 6th man. And I think it'll actually pay off for the OKC Thunder, but hopefully we're able to put a stop to his production with that bench unit. But speaking of that, we're getting into our rotation before we get into the game. Darius Miller is actually hurt right now, so he's going to be on a slight minutes restriction. So I started Mo Harkless, and then I have Cheick Diallo starting. It was pretty much between him and Mo Speights starting, but because I wanted Anthony at the 4, I went ahead and started Diallo instead of Mo Speights. I'll have Mo Speights stretching the floor at some points during the game along with Anthony Davis, but for the most part, we're going to have Diallo in the game. And I like the matchup at the 4 because the Thunder actually picked up Terrence Jones, so the former Pelican is playing against them in the playoffs. So that's another interesting storyline. He was cut by the Pelicans after the DeMarcus Cousins trade, and now for the first time since has found a home here in OKC. He's actually starting, so he's a major contributor to this team. He's not just a rotation guy or a bench guy. He's actually starting, and that's very interesting. But either way, I think that's barbecue chicken for Anthony Davis, to be honest. So that's why I wanted him starting at the 4, and then I went with Diallo at the 5. I didn't want to slide AD to the 5 where he would be matched up with Steven Adams. That would make him have a much tougher night. So there's the starting lineup. They actually have Alex Abrines starting at the 2, and then like I said, they have Paul George, Terrence Jones, and Steven Adams. Of course, you have Russ as well. But let's get into this game to see if the Pelicans could fly to OKC, pull off a road upset victory, and shock the NBA in the first round of the NBA playoffs. So we're getting things started with a Mo Harkless slam right down the middle of the lane, and that's a nice way to start things off. And there's Anthony Davis getting in on the action, dish by Mo Harkless, and we're leaving Russ wide open from 3. We definitely don't want to do that. And then we're also leaving Paul George open from 3, so they're on fire early, and Mike Conley is going to fire back with a 3 of his own. Perfect release. So with just under 3 minutes, the Pelicans are trailing in this game 16-20, as Anthony Davis is going to cut that gap to just 1 as he was left wide open. Then he takes the lead for the Pelicans, and all of a sudden here in the second quarter, we are leading in this game as Antonio Blakeney gets a 3-pointer step back right there. Very nice shot, and an even better one, contested 3-point corner shot by Mike Conley. And then there's Darius Miller on the minutes restriction, still not stopping him from knocking down jump shots. And there's a step back by Jrue Holiday. So all of our guys are hitting their 3s right now, and we're making the mistake of leaving them wide open for 3. So they're staying around in this game as the Pelicans have built up a pretty nice lead here in the second quarter, and we're leading by 10 as Russ gets left open again, but we're gonna find Mo Speights for 3. He's gonna knock that one down. So that's exactly what we want from him. Every now and then we want a 3 from Mo Speights, as Russ is going to get the and 1, and he's going to go to the line. Let's see if he can go ahead and convert, and it looks like he does, as we're getting close to the end of the half, as there's about 30 seconds left in the half, as Jrue Holiday takes Blakeney off the dribble all the way to the rack for an easy lay-in. So we're at halftime and the Pelicans are leading. This has been a pretty shocking game so far. I'm sure not too many experts predicted the Pelicans to be up at halftime on the road versus this Thunder team. And Russ is doing his thing right now, but he isn't sharing the ball too much so far. He only has 2 assists, 21 points. But we're getting started here in the third quarter. And at the end of the day, the first half, that was a good half, but we have to finish out this game if we want to walk away with a W. We still have a lot of work to do, as Cheick Diallo is going to get an easy lay-in off of the screen play, and a nice turnaround jump shot by Anthony Davis right there. So far we're playing well to start the second half, but we have to play better perimeter defense if we don't want them to cut this lead down and eventually take the lead themselves. But we're getting down to the final seconds of the third quarter. Terrence Jones is going to attempt a buzzer beater 3, and he does beat the buzzer and knocks down the 3. So we are leading by 6 points as Jrue Holiday gets a nice turnaround fader right there, as Russ is going to find Terrence Jones through the air for the alley-oop. And I think we may have a Terrence Jones sighting, as he's going off for the Thunder right now. And Steven Adams is going to get his own board, kick it out to Melo, wide open 3. And there's Terrence Jones apparently on fire, knocking down a contested mid-range shot. There's Russ wide open again. Perimeter defense is failing us at this point. And there is Terrence Jones from the free throw line knocking down yet another shot. But there is Anthony Davis responding with a two-handed flush in traffic, and Mike Conley knocking down a 3 to temporarily give the Pelicans the lead. But the Thunder did storm back and score 4 straight. But Anthony Davis throws down a nasty slam on the dome of Steven Adams. Somebody call a paramedic, but Anthony Davis is not done yet, as he's going to get an and 1 to give the Pelicans the 1-point lead, 100-99 with 29 seconds left in game 1. He goes to the line and extends it to 2. They have a possession, but they do have to consider the shot clock. They have 14 seconds on the shot clock. Russ going in the paint, taking it right at Anthony Davis, and ties it up at 101. We have to take a timeout to draw something up. We have a chance at a game winner on the road in the NBA playoffs. I think this is a huge moment. Needless to say, I think the ball needs to be in AD's hand. We're going to call for a screen with Jrue handling the ball. The defender does stick with Anthony Davis, so there's an easy lay-in for Jrue Holiday, leaving 3 seconds on the clock for the Thunder. That may be too much time with Russ and Paul George on the floor. They're going to inbound it to Paul George. He's defended by Mo Speights and Harkless, and he will miss the potential game-tying basket. So the luck is on the side of the Pelicans as we escape OKC with a game 1 victory over the Thunder. Russ drops 39 and 4. Carmelo drops 26 in just 24 minutes. Terrence Jones had a huge fourth quarter and was a major contributor to the team. Anthony Davis, though, in the winning effort, had a game 31 and 15. No blocks, though, on 10 of 13 shooting, so super efficient night. Mike Conley, 20 and 3. Jrue Holiday with the game winner, 14, 8 and 4. So very impressive night for our stars and for the Pelicans in general. We go into OKC and steal a game on the road. That was hard fought from the beginning to the end. That was a very tough game. I mean, that was very tough. I mean, Jrue Holiday got an easy basket at the end. That was a little too easy. But when Anthony Davis is having the efficient night he's having, I guess you kind of have to step out there. You don't want him to get a wide open one. But there was obviously some sort of miscommunication there. So the Thunder are really going to be kicking themselves for the next couple of games after letting this one go. So hopefully we're able to capitalize on it and pull off the victory for the whole series. You guys don't want to miss the next episode. We're going to be playing in an elimination game. So definitely tune in. Not sure whose side it's going to be on, if it's going to be the Pelicans trying to eliminate someone or if it's the Pelicans on the brink of elimination. So you guys don't want to miss that episode. I'll see you guys in that one. Later.